right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Byron Purnell. I'm the program director for our 21st Century programming here at Scott Elementary School. I actually the program director for our summer school programming and our after school programming. So today's presentation deals with our parent orientation. So I thank you for joining us today. So let's get started. First up, welcome to our Impact program at W.J. Scott Elementary School. The Impact program is a federally funded after-school program through the 21st Century Community Learning Centers. The goals of the after-school program are three: increase student academic achievement, provide a plethora of extracurricular enrichment activities, and also ensure that we involve our parents and families in our school-wide programming. There are 5 goals to the program. The first 2 deal with primarily academics, and we want to ensure that students are meeting or exceeding the standards in reading and mathematics, both respectively. We want to ensure that we increase parental involvement in our 21st Century Impact program. We want to increase positive academic behavior. And lastly, we want to increase positive classroom behavior by reducing the number of inappropriate behavior referrals. These are our parents must do. So at some point, parents must fill out a program registration form in order for your child to continue to attend the summer and after school programming. Parents must also attend the orientation. That's why we have placed this on our YouTube channel so that you can access it at your leisure. After you finish that YouTube channel, you must complete a program form and sign some other forms in order to give us permission to proceed further with your child in our Impact program. You will receive a parent and student handbook after you finish our orientation, and you also will receive some information to complete. It's a parent inventory in order for us to plan our evening sessions when the fall comes. Impact program is not only a homework helper, it is a tutorial service, and also it is an enrichment service. Students are given approximately 30 to 45 minutes after school each day in order to finish their homework. Now, when you get into our upper grades, our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, it may take a little longer for the kids to complete their homework. So they will do the first 30 to 45 minutes and then the other portions they need to do at home. Because after that 45 minutes, we get right into our enrichment activities for our students, or we jump right into tutorial services to assist them in order to become better students. Lastly, with 21st Century Learning Centers, we focus on academic enrichment activities that are STEM-based, which is our science, technology, engineering, mathematics, arts, dance, recreation, and all cultural activities. We're branching into some social justice activities this year too, so be aware of that. We will be developing our Student Government Association with our 4th and 5th grade students. Our program operation for the summer starts Wednesday, June 2nd and ends Wednesday, June the 30th. The program operation times are 8 to 2:30, and transportation will be provided Monday through Friday. Attendance in our after school program, whether it be summer or after school, we really stress 100% attendance of all of our students. We know that things come up and that students aren't able to attend or they must go home due to emergencies or unforeseen activities that they have at home. But we really stress that our parents let us have all of our students 100% of the time, and then we'll be happy to give them back to you at 6 o'clock. Students with more than 3 unexcused absences may be dismissed from the program. You just need to know that. But we will try to develop a progressive form of a consequence when it comes to unexcused absences. Make sure that you're just communicating with us on a daily basis, and we can make sure that we act accordingly when it comes to those unexcused absences. I just want to let you know, students with perfect attendance in our summer school program are automatically enrolled in our after school program, which is a big help to us and also will assist you at home. Free. The cost of after school program is like none other. It is, yes, you said it, free. All activities for after school and summer school programming are free. Sometimes the kids, when we go on field trips, the kids want a little extra change so they can buy a little extra snack. But most importantly, we provide everything that your child will ever need. They never need extra money, but mostly pretty much everything is free. If there is a cost to anything, we'll make sure that we inform you well ahead of time. But most things in the after school summer school programming are free. Discipline and behavior management. I'm going to kind of slow down here, all right? Because this is very, very important. The primary goal of the after school and summer school program is to educate in a fun and safe learning environment. Very important. That's to educate in a fun and safe learning environment. Anytime those three things are interrupted, fun, safe, and learning, that's when we have to make corrective action to a student who's bringing disruption to that particular part of the program. So therefore, we must form a procedure in order to deal with discipline and misbehavior. Students in the after school program are really governed by the policies of Atlanta Public Schools because the 21st Century Program is housed in the Atlanta Public School system. And so the administrators and teachers must keep detailed discipline records if your child misbehaves in any manner. The management of discipline is usually handled by our site coordinator, Ms. Audrey Rucker. If she cannot handle it, then she comes to me, Byron Purnell, as your program director to make any corrective actions that we need to make with a student who's causing there not to be a fun, safe learning environment. Our discipline at Scott Elementary School is progressive. The consequence is usually matched with the behavior, and so it's progressive. So the kids will have ample opportunity to make corrective actions to whatever's going on. And I'm a pretty amiable person, but when it comes to discipline and it comes to ensuring that all the other students have a fun, safe learning environment, then I make my corrective actions swiftly, because I do not want any student to be intimidated if they are being disrupted by a student who's being unruly. You really need to know this. These are calls for immediate termination. Now, termination could be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 semester, or the entire program. It is progressive. When you talk about termination in the after-school program, it is a progressive termination. So you'll be fully aware of what those termination policies are. You'll be informed by a written letter, and you'll begin ample opportunity to come and meet with us so that we can explain and have a meeting upon why there has been a termination of your child if it so happens. So these are the things, and you need to know this: tobacco, alcohol, or drugs, immediate termination. Weapons of any type, immediate termination. Fireworks, immediate termination. Pornography or sexual harassment, immediate termination. Destruction of school property or personal property, immediate termination. Abusive language, meaning cursing towards students or staff, immediate termination. Fighting with a weapon, immediate termination. And stealing from students or staff is immediate termination. These are behaviors that are prohibited, but they're not immediate termination. They will have corrective actions placed on them. You will receive a phone call, or you may even have a parent conference to discuss what happened and why they're having these inappropriate behaviors. And that is climbing the fence outside. That's destructive, and it may harm the student or other students. Throwing objects, fighting, name calling, horse playing, writing or drawing on school property, and bringing toys and non-educational items from home to the school. Those things are prohibited outside behaviors, and that's a phone call and possible a parent conference with you. Prohibited bus behavior. Now, the bus is probably one of the most important things that we deal with when it comes to discipline, because there's so many nuances that come to play. We have to ensure that all students come from school to home safely and in a safe manner. We don't want any accidents or incidents on the bus. So the bus behavior is extremely, extremely, extremely important. All you pretty much got to do is get on that bus and ride home, and get on that bus and ride to school. That's about all you have to do. Any other thing, any other behavior outside of that is prohibited. So let me gotta go through them. Refusal to cooperate with the bus driver. That's prohibited. The bus driver is the boss on the bus. I cannot have the bus driver complaining to me about a child who's fighting, screaming, hanging out the window, or touching the doors. That is prohibited. Excessive talking, unnecessary noise, extending arms, hands, and head out the windows, obscene or unacceptable language, gestures, remarks, or signs, tampering with equipment, and refusal to stay seated. These things will get you kicked off that bus. The bus driver is probably one of the most important parts and the very beginning important part of the day. They bring the kids to school and they take the kids home. They make sure we get your baby safely and we make sure your babies get home safely. That's why our bus driver is so extremely important. So please give them the respect that they deserve. Any corrective actions that are permanent will be administered by me or Ms. Rucker. Both of us have that authority to do so, but let me read this. After School Impact operates on a level system, meaning that it gets progressive. It's progressive. You may, and I'll kind of go through those infractions, but one infraction may not kick you out depending on what that infraction is, okay? So it's a level system. Students found in violation of our discipline code. Our discipline plan aims to reduce, listen to me, reduce problem-causing behaviors and ensure students are learning from their poor choices. We hope to achieve this through education and encouragement of pro-social behaviors and other interventions. So we have a lot of interventions in place to make sure that your child is able to stay at our after-school and summer school programming, and it gets progressively better once they do better. Consequences to misbehavior. Just kind of let you know how it goes. The first infraction is usually handled by the teacher with a verbal warning, right? Not all problems with children in the classroom warrant a phone call to the parent. I know a lot of times parents want you to call them immediately, but what that does is that does not teach the child to monitor and manage their own behavior. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach the child to monitor and manage their own behavior, make their own corrective action, teach them what's the difference between appropriate and inappropriate behaviors. And sometimes an immediate phone call to the parent is not the best way to do that. The second infraction is a verbal and written warning. Again, it may not be an immediate call to the parent. It may be a call to Ms. Rucker, our site coordinator. And if she so chooses, she may call home to the parent. But if we can correct it on the first and second infraction, that means we made the correction. That means your child has learned how to have appropriate behaviors. That means your child has learned how to manage their own behavior. And that's another big part of school. We've been out for so long, so it's going to take a little time for our kids to understand you can't do certain things that you do at home at school. So it's very important that we just don't up and call you all the time. If you receive a phone call, that means that the behavior of your child has gotten to a point that is unmanageable, right? Nobody's giving up on your child. If you get a phone call from me, Ms. Rucker, or the teacher, that means your child's behavior has become unmanageable, and we need you to intervene for them to remain in the program. So our third infraction is referred to the site coordinator, which is Ms. Rucker, or referral to me. And I really don't want it to come to me because at that time I have to administer a consequence that's probably going to end up putting them out of the program for a certain length of time. Right? So you kind of, right here kind of shows you the discipline actions that we take, warnings or counseling with teachers and after-school directors. So we are fully equipped to do counseling and to do to amend behaviors that were inappropriate. Referral to the school administrator, which is me, myself, or Ms. Rucker. Loss of privileges, isolation or timeout, those things that teachers administer all the time. Temporary removal from class or activity, those things that teachers administer. Loss of privileges, isolation or timeout, temporary removal from class or activity. Notification to the parent, a teacher can do that. Parent conference, a teacher can do that. Suspension from the school bus, expulsion from the school bus, that's me and Ms. Rucker's domain, and withdrawal from the after-school program, that's Ms. Rucker and I's domain, the site coordinator. Bullying or cyberbullying is not warranted. It is a non-negotiable. Anybody that bullies or cyberbullies, at school, on social media to another student at Scott Elementary School will have serious consequences if that occurs. It is our goal at Scott Elementary School to ensure that no child is afraid to come to school. No child is intimidated to come to school. It's extremely important that we don't bully and we don't cyberbully. So we advise that your child be a nice person. No bullying or cyberbullying, right? It's very important. Atlanta Public Schools upholds it, and I adhere to it. No bullying whatsoever. We want our children to feel safe, have fun, and learn. Corporal punishment, very important. Corporal punishment is a no-no for any employee and any staff at Scott Elementary School. Also, it is a no-no for you to administer corporal punishment at school in front of staff. You can do whatever you need to do at home, but you cannot administer corporal punishment here, nor can you ask us to administer corporal punishment to your child. It is a no-no. And if corporal punishment is found that someone has administered corporal punishment, one of the staff members at the school, they are immediately removed from the program and immediately referred to the principal and possible the authorities. Corporal punishment is a no-no. Internet technology and use. Any internet technology and use at the school is school-related only. That is for staff, and that is for teachers, and that is for students and parents. Internet use is for school use only, not personal use. This is also another big one, student accidents. The biggest thing about student accident is we try to give you a call as soon as humanly possible to give you a call on student accidents. Just let you know that I've been in this game for about 25 plus years. Student accidents usually occur at 1 or 2 times, right? That means it occurs during transitions during the school day or transitions to dismissal, right? So a student may be going home and there's a lot of commotion going on in the hallway. We try to make it as organized as possible, but there may be a lot of commotion going on in the hallway, and a child may trip, get hurt, bust a lip, bump into another child, they get to fighting. We try our best to give you a call immediately if there's an accident, immediately. So if it's during the school day, it's a referral to the nurse and you'll get a call from the nurse. If it's during dismissal, we try to come to the car with the child and let you know what's going on. I know a lot of parents sometimes, the child will come and there's something's going on with the child and you may have a problem or be in a place where you don't feel like you were called expeditiously. But the incident may have occurred during dismissal, right? So we need to make sure that we understand each other, that we're listening to each other and we're communicating. No one at Scott Elementary School wants your child to get hurt. It is our duty and our responsibility to ensure that when you send your child to school unharmed and unscathed, that they return to you unharmed and unscathed. But there's about 500 students at Scott, right? Plus another 65 staff. So things happen. So we need to make sure, though, that we are informing you and that we're communicating effectively. So if there's an accident at school, we need to make sure that we call you as soon as humanly possible. Sometimes it's not as soon as we can, and we can because, if a child is on the playground, gets hurt, and they're on the playground with one staff person, they can't leave all the other children on the playground and go in and call you as the parent. So we may have to wait a minute, make a radio call, get somebody to come out to assist, and then make that phone call. But as humanly possible, we try to make that phone call. I just want to reiterate that point. All right. Snacks and supper. It was said at Scott Elementary School, you actually get fed at least 5 to 6 days a week. At one point, you were getting fed 7 days a week, which is so cool. But When your child comes into school, they get breakfast, which is free. They get a snack, especially if you have those teachers who act like they're everybody's mama. They got snacks all the time, which is free. They get lunch, which is free. They get another snack, which is offered by the school district. It's free. And then they get supper, which is free. So we actually feed your child 5 times a day. 5 times a day. All you got to do is get that baby home, let them finish their homework, wash them up, give them another snack, and send them to bed. But snacks and supper are given every day that they're in summer school and after school operations. But that supper is actually lunch during the summer. Wellness. It's extremely important that we educate the entire child, the whole child. So we deal with a few different areas. There's self-confidence, problem solving, decision making, team skills, leadership, drug and alcohol, violence, hygiene, dental health, nutrition, physical education, and service learning. All these enrichment activities center around these 12 vital skills that your child should learn as they get older. There are 12 different skills. And check this out. We teach them this every day. Every day we're working on self-confidence. Every day we're working on service learning. Every day we're working on violence prevention. Every day we're working on leadership development because we're trying to educate the whole child to make them a better person as they get older. So that's the goal of the Impact Program, that wellness. Very important. We do not administer medications in Impact. Medications are only administered by the nurse. You have to make sure that you get in touch with the nurse if your child has asthma or any type of thing where they must receive an EpiPen. Please make sure you contact the nurse in the main office. And if we need to hire a nurse in our after-school space, we will. But medication can only be administered by a nurse. No school staff can administer it. Only time we can administer anything is asthma and EpiPens, and that's only the staff that are certified in those particular areas. And we have a few staff that are trained in this area. Transportation, you just need to know that transportation is provided by Atlanta Public Schools. Riding the school bus is a privilege. Please don't do anything in order to get that privilege taken away from you. But in the after-school impact program, we provide bus transportation home. So make sure that your child is doing what they're supposed to do so that they can stay on their bus, because I want to reiterate, it is a privilege. It is not a right. Here are the bus transportation rules. Please have your child go over this or go over this with your child so that they don't violate these bus transportation rules so they can remain on that bus, because I would hate for anything to happen to anybody on the bus. So make sure that we are not the culprits in causing that to happen. But again, bus transportation is a privilege. It is not a right. Emergency preparedness plan, fire drill, tornado drill, earthquake drill, and bomb threat. I saved number 3 for last because that's the most important drill to this day, and it actually attached to those red letters. Anytime if there's an intruder alert or an intruder that comes into the building, the very first thing we do at Scott Elementary School that we teach our children, if that intruder is on the other side of the building, inside the building, well, if you're on the other side of the building, away from the intruder, we make sure that you get out that building and run as far as possible. The location that you meet your child is at Springfield Baptist Church, 1730 Hollywood Road. It's right next to the school. That is the meeting location for parents. So the first thing we do is we teach our kids to flight. We teach them to run away from danger. Run away from danger. Again, if I'm on this side of the building and I have 10 students with me and I have gunshots and they're on the other side of the building, we need to leave out this back door and get away as far as possible. That's the first thing that we do. Second thing we do, if we can't get away, then we cut off all the lights, we lock the door, and we hide. Cut the lights out, lock the door, get up on the table, and we hide, and we barricade that door. So we hide. First thing is we run if we can run. Next thing we do, we hide if we can hide. Last thing we do is if we're in a room with an individual that has lost their minds and they want to do bodily harm to us, then all of us get together and we battle it out. We fight. That's the intruder alert drill. We teach them this. Run if you can run. Hide if you can hide. And fight if you have to fight. Run, hide, fight. Those are the 3 actions. We teach them this all the time, and they are ready to go. Our communication system is growing. We are on Facebook now. We're on Instagram. We're on GroupMe, and we're on Twitter. We're asking you to sign up to our parent GroupMe because that will inform you of everything that is happening in the school. Also, this particular video will be loaded up to our YouTube page. It's extremely important that you do that. Jump on here, and that will update you on all information that is coming down the pipe. We're going to ask you also to join us on Instagram and join us on Facebook. Very, very important. And then when you join us on Twitter and you volunteer, and you can tweet out to your friends and loved ones and ask them to continue to promote the great things at Scott Elementary School that are happening. But and then there'll be a newsletter that comes out monthly. School home communication. Again, you have the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, GroupMe, and YouTube page. And also for our parents who where English is not a second language, our bilingual person, Miss Sally Luna, is the head of that. And we have some other actors who play a part of that. Mr. Philip Henry, Nina Reed, DeJuan Barfield, Joanna Garcia, and David Galbin. Very important. Sexual misconduct. Anytime there is sexual misconduct or sexual abuse, it is reported directly to the principal or to any administrator on duty. We are mandatory reporters as staff. If we see it, we must say it. And we are asking our parents to be mandatory reporters also. If you see it, you must say it within 24 hours. See it and say it. Please let someone know if there's sexual misconduct or sexual abuse. Again, I want to reiterate, any suspected child abuse concerns, if we see it, we must say it. We must report it within 24 hours orally to someone, or we must write it to someone like our administrators in a written form. We must say it. If we see it, we must say it. I want to reiterate, we are mandatory reporters as educators. You should be a mandatory reporter as a parent. If you see a suspected child abuse, you must tell someone. You cannot let a child be abused by anyone in any form. Any of the reporting apparatus are right here. You have 404-802-2247. You have 855-422-4453. They are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Again, we are mandatory reporters. If we see it, we must say it. Lost and found. Any lost and found articles are found in our cafeteria. There's a huge box when you walk into the cafeteria. It's on your far left. There's a huge box. Anything that's lost is placed in that. Usually my girls are pretty good. The young girls here usually keep up with all this stuff. It's usually my little boys. The boys are always losing something. They'll come out this building and have one shoe on. And I'm trying to figure out why you come to school with 2 shoes, but now you only got 1. If it's lost and found, it is placed in the box in the cafeteria. I've had young boys come out, have a jacket on and no shirt. And I'm trying to figure out where in the heck did you lose your shirt? I don't understand. But our young boys do that all the time. So we got to make sure that we find their objects, and it's usually placed in our box right there in the cafeteria. If it's not there, then Ms. Moultrie, our parent liaison, who's also a part of our after school program, she takes those items, and she also has a place where she puts those items in her office also. But lost and found is very important. My girls usually keep up with their stuff, but for some reason my boys, they lose everything. So that lost and found box again is placed in the cafeteria to your far left. Assurances. After this presentation, there are some assurances that you will speak to us if you are disgruntled about Scott Elementary School and the after school program. Please speak to us first, and I promise you we will handle it to the best of our abilities. If Ms. Rucker can't handle it, I'm sorry, if your teachers can't handle it, then Ms. Rucker can handle it. If Ms. Rucker can't handle it, then I will handle it. If I can't handle it, then Mr. Lonely will handle it. If Mr. Lonely can't handle it, then we have other representatives who can assist you. But if you are disgruntled, or if you are upset, please contact us first. Because again, we are here for one thing and one thing only, to make sure that your child is safe, make sure that they have fun, and make sure that they are learning. It is our responsibility to ensure that that happens. You'll be receiving some things in your child's backpack to sign and return, and one of them is the assurance form. Now, lastly, our Horizons program for the summer goes all the way until July the 16th. July the 16th. If you have a rising first or second grader, we're asking you to contact this particular number, 678-995-5108. They provide bus transportation. They will pick up and drop off. They pick up at 7:30. They drop off at 3 o'clock. They will pick up and drop off. Ms. Bayless Fleming is the site director there. And they will, our Horizons program deals with a lot more out-school activities. They deal primarily with reading, but they teach the kids to swim. They give them breakfast, lunch, and snacks daily. So please, please make sure that if you have a rising first or second grader for summer, they go all the way to July the 2nd and 16th. If you need them to do other things besides Scott, please have them be a part of our Horizons program. The forms that you'll be signing, there are 3 of them: a release and waiver of liability and covenant not to sue form, that's that assurances form; impact program student agreement, which we're actually having those kids sign it as they hear, in the impact parent agreement. Please sign those forms and return them to us expeditiously. I thank you so much for tuning in to our parent orientation. It has been wonderful speaking with you. If you need to speak with me at any time, I'm always at the school. If you need to call the school, it's 404-802-7000. You can call and ask to speak to Mr. P, and Mr. P will pick up and grace you, or please grace me with your concerns. Thank you again for attending our parent orientation. You have a wonderful, wonderful day.